It's the 3 days of De Panne, and we're on to day two. Of course, two one-day races now. It's the women's race today between the main square in Brugge, in Bruges, and on the way to the seaside at De Panne. Will it be a bunch sprint, or can somebody stop them? We're about to find out. This isn't how we wanted you to join us. Level crossing. We did have all riders together. I can tell you that 134 kilometres of this race were scheduled. We're getting towards the final 30 k's or so, and we're in Koksijde, just outside of De Panne. Alongside me is Lucy Martin. And Lucy, this is a strange thing to happen in a race. Can affect your rhythm and everything, can't it?
Yeah, it's definitely not what you want, especially coming into the final and most important part of the race. But everybody's together. It looks like a fairly quick stop, so they'll just stop, get back into action. But quite often after this actually happens, which we have seen a few times, there's a really high pace, and often actually when you see many attacks.
A Longo Borghini up towards the front now for Trek Segafredo. Because if you're watching the UCI Women's World Tour with us for the first time this season, it's a slightly different kit than the one you've seen in the men's. It's not the red and white, it's the blue and white jerseys you're looking for Trek Segafredo.
Yeah, it's a new team, and they started off with a bang with a win on the first race of the season in Tour Down Under by the young Petter Noster, who's in the race today, and she's only 19 years of age. But not to forget, they've got Lepisto as well, who's a very, very fast sprinter, and she's won a lot of races. She was recently second in Hageland. She won a stage already earlier in the year in Valencia. So if I was to pick their sprinter, I'd definitely say they would go for Lepisto today.
But you said that Paternoster's fast. Loretta Hansen, oh dear, rider down. Two riders from the same team down, in fact. 106 down there is Kali Waterus. 105 next to her, Christy van Haften, and they're from the Healthmate ladies team. Problems for Mitchelton Scott as well. 114 is Sarah Roy. Second or third crash in the space of 2 or 3 kilometres. Now down there for Bigla is Elizabeth Banks of Great Britain. Another rider down a little further ahead, Trek Segafredo, and it's Elisa Longo Borghini, who we've just seen at the front of the group. Oh, wow. One way to get the bike out and show your frustration. Yeah, understandably, sorry, Lucy, understandably not happy to have crashed there.
No, definitely not. And I think naturally this is what can happen in a race. It's a lot of tension, a lot of nervousness, and yeah, everybody's just thinking about getting back up and getting back in the race, especially when we're coming into the technical final lap. So she wanted to get back on her bike as fast as possible, and it looks like there's only the two of the riders down there. But
I think Elizabeth Banks might need a new bike after her other one was thrown down the road.
Yeah, and this is quite a slow change.
Where did it happen? Here we go. Oh, and Banks has gone flying after almost ending up in the car park there. That's a horrible crash. 22.2 kilometres to go, and we've just seen a few splits. Lots of attacking at the front of the Women's World Tour race at Driedaagse. On our way to De Panne, you can clearly see there on this exposed section as we're on our way back into town that the wind is having an effect, and this is non-stop stuff, Lucy.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of riders trying to break away, and we'll see. We're going to go through the finish line shortly, and I think it's going to be really, really interesting next time when we come round to the finish to have such a long, straight road, and as we can see, the wind is picking up. So if it is going to come down to a sprint, that's going to be trains everywhere.
Bulls Dolman's doing most of the attacking so far today. We've seen a couple of their different riders have a go. Crash at the back, and down, 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 I'm afraid. In Sunweb colours is Lucinda Brand. Problems too for one of the big riders from Mitchelton Scott.
I think that looks like Grace Brown, one of the new signings this year, and she's new to cycling, so it's a bit of a shame. No, Grace Brown's only started cycling 3 or 4 years ago, so this is her first time in the classics. She's never really experienced the nervousness of the classic races.
Right towards the back. Oh, and it was Brown who was taken down by Brand, who is already on the ground. And Brand looks particularly affected there, I have to say. 145 is Pernille Mathiessen on the left-hand side, just checking on the health of her mate. Amazingly, though, Brand looks like she's about to get back on her bike. Across the bridge they go, and heading into the final 3K run-in back to De Panne. in this shot. Bastianelli, Voss, Field and the rest. There's some huge names in professional cycling on the road on the way to De Panne. It's the second Women's World Tour race here in De Panne. Last year's winner, Jolien D'Hoore, not present. She's out injured with a broken collarbone at the moment. But who's going to succeed her? We had some nasty incidents and crashes on this particular stretch of road as we're heading into the finish line last time. But it's pretty clear now that we're headed for a bunch sprint.
Yeah, and we've not really talked about Voss too much this race, but remember she was the last winner of the World Tour in Binder. It was a hard hilly race, but her sprint was phenomenal there. She had a really big gap over the rest of the field, so she'll be confident. She's on a comeback after a couple of years kind of at a lower level with injuries and whatever. So 2.6k to go. She was in a good position then towards the front.
She'll be wearing the orange jersey with the rainbow stripes across her sleeve to denote the fact she's a former three-time world champion on the road. 184 wins in the career of Marianne Vos, and that's just on the road. We know she's a top crosser, and she's been great in other disciplines as well. For CCC Live, can she make it 185 today? It will be a second road win of the season. Only race day number 4 for her, though. It is still early doors for Marianne Vos yet this season. Here's Majerus, the champion of Luxembourg. 2.2 kilometers to go. On her wheel, Amelie Diederiksen, as Trek Segafredo rely on Elisa Longo Borghini yet again to drive it on at the front.
Yeah, and you can see just behind them is the purple jersey we were talking about of the European champion Bastianelli. So at the moment, with 2k to go, she's very well positioned.
Sitting right on her wheel is Arlene Sierra, the Cuban rider from Astana, and just in front of Bastianelli looks to be picking the wheel of Lotta Lepisteur, pardon me, the Finnish champion, and no surprise because it looks like Trek Segafredo, the team with all the strength there.
Yeah, and these girls ride together all the time, all season. They know whose wheels to get on, they know who's the fastest, they know how they work, how they sprint. So this is just all about a battle for position right now, but it's Trek Segafredo who are taking the race up at the moment.
Ellen van Dijk tries to take it up at the front. It's her former teammates, actually, who try to hold on to her wheel behind from somewhere. Bertizzolo trying to give whatever she has left in the tank at the front in the light blue on the left-hand side. 1.5 kilometers to go now. Those who cannot hack the pace are already out of the game. Big names, big sprinters are all still there, though. The likes of Vos, Bastianelli, and the rest. Chloe Hosking hiding out too. There is Bastianelli in the purple. This now is Kirsten Phil being brought up in the blue and red. The Dutch sprinting superstars are about to go under the 1 kilometer to go banner. It's all about positioning now here, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see the teammates peeling off to the side, letting just 1 or 2 riders left. There's only 1 kilometer to go. It gets a bit narrow, it gets a bit hard and fast here, and if you're not in the top 10 already, it's going to be difficult to move up.
Lisa Brenner on the right-hand side as Chloe Hosking is being moved up on the left. It's a fight for position at the front for Aleci Polini, and fighting for position because there's a big right turn coming up here along the tram tracks before we get into the final 400 to 500 metres. Sunweb, though, winning that positioning fight and trying to put their young Norwegian sprinter Susanne Andersen in the right place, and they do a great job of that.
Yeah, that was really well to go through that corner in front position. That's what you need, and there's not a long way to go now, and I think it could be anybody's race at the moment.
450 metres to go on the right-hand side. You can see Lepisteur being brought up, but Vils is on her wheel. Kirsten Vils is there on the right-hand side, waiting, ready to go. It's Majerus on the left-hand side, trying to lead out the Danish national champion, and it's going to be Diederiksen who's going to light it up first. Diederiksen on the right-hand side, as you look at it now, goes in the red. 200 metres to go, but I think she's gone really early. On the right-hand side, though, it's now Vild. Kirsten Vild in the centre, who hits the front. Can anybody come around her and do it? Still 75 metres to the line. Vild on the left, but I think she's tiring. Look at this, though, from Park Hotel Valkenburg, but Vild holds on the right-hand side. Kirsten Vild, the strongest, off the track, onto the road, and straight to the top of the podium. That was some mightily strong sprint from Kirsten Vild.
What an incredible sprint from Kirsten Wild. It looked like she went too early, but she held on all the way to the line.
It's your second road race this year, and you already have a victory now. Did you expect this?
Well, I can stop. No, did I expect it? Well, I had quite a busy season behind me. Did some track racing and directly some road racing. So actually I was a bit tired, so I did not really expect it, but I hoped to get with my fast legs on the road.
Okay, thank you.